If anybody's headphones are too loud, you can let me know and I'll drop the volume.
Look at you. I like that we just go into this assuming you
Megan on the ones
know
and
how to
twos.
do this. I'm very impressed. You got a whole mix board there? Jesus.
Yes.
What is that when somebody says that somebody's on the ones and twos?
I've never heard that before.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Megan on the ones and twos? You've heard that, right?
Yeah.
But isn't it like turntables or something?
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it is, yeah. I'm not up to that culture.
Turntable 1, turntable 2.
So this is the show.
Are we doing it?
It's begun.
It's begun?
Oh, have we started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we have no structure to it, so I think we'll just talk.
I think a structure will eventually emerge, but you're
Sort
gonna
of
have
like
to,
the show.
Yeah, right. You're gonna have to sit through quite a few episodes before it gets good, just like the show.
Just like the show, yeah.
I was telling Rob earlier, just on a show-related thing, that I had some queso cheese on Sunday. Today's Wednesday.
How'd that do you?
My stomach still hurts.
Yeah.
And so very unlike my character. I just I should never go anywhere near cheese.
But okay, this is a conversation that we have had. This feels like
Because I'll keep doing it. I keep doing it.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've had this
I don't-
conversation for 14 years.
For 14 years.
When was
no, early on, I didn't know it was the cheese that was messing me up.
we knew it was something.
Well,
Yeah.
but you also you had an aversion to creamy things. You knew creamy things were related to.
I had a hunch.
But anytime anything creamy came across your plate, you were like, "This could be a problem for
I
me."
had a hunch, but it was a lazy hunch, like an alcoholic's like, I should probably stop drinking. You know what I mean? Like, but doesn't do anything. So I was just like eating cheese willy-nilly, and then I stopped and started feeling better. And then every now and then I just am like, well, I could probably do it now.
It's probably fine now. My stomach has learned.
Yeah.
As you get older, your stomach generally gets stronger, right?
I'll tame my stomach with cheese and cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just like everything else, we had that conversation, then try to figure out a way to put it into the show, which is what we did by making your character obsessed with cheese.
Also, weirdly, just
that how
it
it
just seems like some things are just funny.
The word, cheese is funny.
cheese is
cats
funny.
are
I don't know why.
funny.
Eggs
Eggs are funny.
eggs are funny. I don't know why.
You know what else is funny, guys? Racism.
By the way, I was thinking of this because I guess part of the structure is we'll watch an episode and talk about it. So we just watched the first episode and now we're talking about it. We never had any intention of that being our first episode, right? Like,
No.
that
Was that the second episode that was written?
No. The second was Charlie Wants an Abortion.
Was it?
Yes,
I thought
yes.
that was the
That's right.
third one that was written.
No.
Cancer, and then we wrote abortion.
Yes.
No. It was originally called The Gang Gets Hip. That was
Yes,
originally
but
the
it
title
was-
for
it
The Gang
wasn't
Gets
the
Hip.
Feels
second one.
worse. that title feels less appropriate. But that was FX was like, no, we should lead off with
Well,
this one.
they thought that The Gang Gets Racist would be more accessible, which is unbelievable. Now, anybody that understands what we're trying to do with the show recognizes what we're trying to do with that particular episode. And I would venture to say that in a lot of ways we failed. It was, but that's looking back on the lens of today as being 44 and being in 2021. And that was, I don't know, how old, what year was that, 1983? The camera seemed to suggest that it was.
The camera suggests it was 1983. However, it was in fact 2005.
2005 that aired.
Yeah. I think our hearts were in the right places, but maybe there's a couple of things in there we'd probably adjust.
Well, I think, I think at that time, I think that we weren't as conscious of the fact. We knew we were making a show about bad people doing bad things and satirizing bad people doing bad things. And we certainly, as people, didn't endorse their behavior. But at the same time, I don't think we were quite as good at making it clear that the people who were creating the show were not also horrible people. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I mean, I can't see it the way, obviously, the audience sees it.
Well, so much of the show and so much of the characters is about ignorance. Like so much of the comedy is coming from their ignorance, which is a byproduct of their arrogance.
Right.
And so it's kind of funny to see the collision of those two things, these super arrogant people who are like, oh, I have these strong beliefs about why I'm right, mixed with this intense ignorance. And then you put that against the lens of race, it's extraordinarily uncomfortable. But that was the show we were making. We're like, well, let's look at the things that we are all getting wrong. But then it's tough. It's a moving target. Things have changed so much to be like, well, even your way that you're trying to say this is wrong. And maybe that's fair. I don't know if that's fair. I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know.
Please don't make me figure it all out.
No.
I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not. Can we all
I think
acknowledge
that's
that?
fair.
Like
I think it's good to
is it okay
acknowledge that.
Can I just say that and then I'll never be in trouble? I'm like, guys, I'm not smart enough.
I'm too dumb to know what I've done
To
wrong.
know
Well,
the answers of now and the answers of 15 years in the future.
Yeah.
We can definitely admit that we were trying our best, right?
Yeah. But we did want to make a show. No, listen. Yeah, all joking, we were definitely trying our best because we were relentless.
Welcome to our sunny podcast apology tour.
Yeah.
Where we're like, okay, this one. Look, how do we broach this?
No, there's a lot of great stuff that I absolutely stand by in that episode.
Same.
I'd say Glenn's drunk acting, that was really scary for me. I remember being there on the day.
Scary. What do you mean?
Well, because I was like, oh shit, this guy's good. And I'm like, just trying to keep up with him.
I remember everybody talking about it. They were like, oh, man, that was really good drunk acting or whatever. And I was like, oh, very proud of myself or whatever. But that was like before Charlie had a chance to do any like real drunk acting, and certainly Caitlin had. And I mean, now it's like you guys' drunk acting blows mine out of the water.
Or Danny on the plane when he's trying to chug down those beers.
The Boggs episode?
Yeah. Drunk acting's not that hard.
It is for me.
I find it quite
Well,
difficult.
acting in general for you is
A challenge.
a challenge, but that's all the more impressive.
Yeah.
We're busting your balls. You're very good.
Well, you can see me just trying to keep up.
Well, in that scene, actually, I would argue
You're great in that scene.
I actually, it's one of my favorite scenes of yours in the early seasons. I would also like to say, for the record, like I'm weirdly uncomfortable with my acting in the first 2 or 3 seasons of the show. Like especially the first season. Like I just don't think I'd found it yet. Like I was, like I think it was still like so concerned with everything feeling real that like wasn't willing yet to embrace the absurdity of what it could be at times. A perfect example of that actually is something that I wanted to cut from the episode that has become like one of the most iconic moments from the first season where my character is concerned, at least in terms of comments I get, but is that the boys are out tonight spin move that I do when I grab that dollar bill. I think I did that one take where I did that. I didn't do that in any other take. I did that in one take just to make you guys laugh, just to do something outrageous, just to kind of, mix things up. And then you guys wanted to put it in the show. And I was like, no. That wasn't meant to be in the show. That was meant to make you guys laugh. That's insane. That's so broad.
Right.
That's so broad. We can't put that in the show. And you guys fought me on it. And finally I was like, all right, fuck
But
it.
it's because you were unguarded and free.
Yeah.
And just,
That's
going
right.
off instinct that it's funny and works.
Yeah, when it took me a couple years to learn that, like, oh, no, that's actually the thing, is like, that should actually be my intention at all times as an actor, to try and make them laugh. To do something as outrageous and unexpected as possible so that I can make the people that I work with laugh.
That's certainly what we all started to adopt, and that's when the show got really fun, was
Right.
when we stopped necessarily caring about what other people might think we should be doing with the show and just trying to make each other laugh.
Quick shout out to Malcolm Barrett in
Yeah,
that
he's
first
amazing.
episode.
Yeah.
Who plays Terrell, who was my buddy from the Luis Guzman short-lived sitcom that I think only 3 episodes aired.
What's the name of that show?
Louis.
Yeah.
Louis, it was Will Gluck show.
The original Louis.
And Chris Miller and Phil Lord were writers on that. Were like staff writers on
Oh
that show.
my God.
Yeah, I was like, these guys are funny, man.
I remember I came to the recording of one of those episodes, the first time I'd ever seen a television show recorded live. And P.T. Anderson was there.
What?
Paul Thomas Anderson was outside, and I smoked a cigarette near him.
Yeah, because he likes high art, and we were making
Yeah.
I have something, I
fine
have a
art,
kind of
the highest art form.
a related experience. When I was doing that 80s show, I got to share a cigarette with Booger
Oh,
from
yeah.
Revenge of the Nerds, like, which is kind of on par with having a cigarette with Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
I just want to be clear. I was near him while he was smoking, and I too was
Right,
smoking.
right, yeah.
So we were sharing it. And
I
it was
like
on this
Boogie Nights, Mr. Anderson.
Was he fucking 10 years old? What happened?
Yeah, I was 10 years old in that imagination of the scenario. So, season
What?
1, episode 1.
I mean, the show is so different without Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so different without him. It's like a completely well, certainly in this episode, for better or for worse, we are much closer to resembling actual human beings than what we quickly become in season 3 or 4.
You mean in terms of our behavior?
Yes, in terms of the character's behavior, like we're presenting people who might actually exist, and even though that they are the most terrible person on earth, we're still presenting them as being somewhat real.
Yeah, they were much more grounded in like the actual reality of the world as opposed to what it became, which is kind of its own reality.
Well, it's a real bar, and they wanted to do better business, and they, hire this guy, and then it becomes a gay bar, and they're uncomfortable with that, or they're comfortable with that based on the prophets. You're uncomfortable with it, even though you come out as gay later.
Yes, I'm clearly my character is clearly the most homophobic in the story, which we then retroactively capitalized on 7 seasons later when we realized, oh wow. But if we did take a look through the behavior of the character over multiple seasons and thought, oh, this is pretty demonstrative of something.
Yeah.
And then we lean into that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right, man. We're getting our sea legs. You know what I mean?
No, it's all right. Yeah.
We got to get our sea legs here.
Yeah.
Well, we should take some calls.
Let's take some calls.
No,
Who's on the line?
Megan, let's take the first caller, Megan.
Who's on the line?
Who we got?
Hello?
Yeah, I saw your first episode.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I thought it was pretty boring and it mostly sucked.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I loved it, and then I watched all 14 seasons.
I wonder is there anybody at one point
That was not a
guys-
caller, by the way. That was Glenn.
That was Glenn.
At one point, you guys looked over, and Charlie, you said, like, how could anybody watch this episode and be like, okay, great, I'm in. I'm going
Right,
to watch
yeah.
the next 14 years of the show because there are truly some repugnant aspects. in that episode.
Nobody is tougher on the show than us, though. I think.
Yeah.
Like I think we're.
I can't. I have a hard time watching that first season. It's
Same.
not even because I necessarily think it's bad. I think I just don't know. And my sensibilities have changed so much since we did that. I look at everything and I go, oh God, I would never do that now. As an actor, as a writer, or any of it, I would never do any of that now. So it's hard for me to stand by it, knowing that I would never do that now. And yet somehow people keep watching it, and I don't know why. I truly don't understand.
Well, are there people out there, do you come across like fans who talk about like season 1 as being one of their favorite seasons? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I feel like people are like, oh, you're finding it. There's some great stuff in season 1, some great moments, some great ideas about what the show is going to be.
Wasn't this, yes, this was the season where we had Anheuser-Busch. They heard that we were making a show about a bar.
my
It was on
goodness.
FX.
Yes.
And they were like, great, we're going to be the official beer of
They're
Patty's
like, we're
Pub.
in. We're fully in.
So we shot the whole first season with all this signage everywhere with Anheuser-Busch everywhere.
Bud Light signs everywhere.
And then we aired the first episode, and the next day, FX got a call.
And they're like, we're fully out.
We're fully out. And FX goes, we already shot the entire season with all of the signage. And Anheuser-Busch was like, I'm sorry, we're out.
Please blur it or we'll destroy you.
Yeah, we're out. And then our position was, fuck you. You guys had the scripts. You read the scripts.
Yeah.
Then you should be fully in. And then FX was like, no, fuck you.
But
we have a relationship with them, like Big Fox, like News Corp had a big relationship with them for the Super Bowl and NFL football. And so we had to go in and digitally change them all to gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like beer.
Isn't
generic.
it weird though now to watch the show 15 years later and be like, Budweiser gets it. They were right.
Yeah.
They were right. They were right to get their asses out of there. They're like, nah.
When did Coors come on board? Because then
Coors doesn't care.
Coors came on board years later once audiences started to pick up on what we were doing.
Yeah.
So they were like,
It's a better business plan.
it is. Yeah. Let's wait until we know that
Are people enjoying this?
Yeah.
Great. We'll advertise.
yeah. And I think our position was like, no, you guys don't understand. This is satire. And then they were like, I don't think you guys know what satire is. And we were like, yeah, maybe not. We are too dumb.
We'll show you. Then 15 years later.
We did.
Mr. Anderson, can you tell us what satire is?
What is it? What even is it?
Get the fuck out of here, hack.
I hear ya.
So what else about this first episode that you guys remember? I remember I was extremely sick shooting all those Philly scenes that year.
Well, you were always in a state of sick in terms of like starving yourself, eating.
I don't think I was
hot
doing that
pepper.
yet.
Was that season
No,
two?
that's season two.
That's season 2 because we do a whole episode.
Oh,
Season
yeah.
two,
Yeah,
That's right. No, the first
we
season
wrote
you
to it.
hadn't lost your mind yet.
Season 1, we were all in the same trailer. And by trailer, I mean closet.
One room.
Yes, one room.
One teeny tiny little room. And we were all stuffed in there. That was outrageous. That was an outrageous
There's
thing to
things
do.
that we didn't know we could ask for, like an office to write the show.
Yeah, we didn't have an office.
We didn't have an office.
We're writing out of the house. of the
We
houses.
didn't have like trailers.
We didn't have proper dressing rooms or trailers or anywhere to go. Just a room we shared.
I
Yeah.
didn't own a computer until the
Oh,
second
Jesus.
season. So we would write on your computer. I would write my shit out on a yellow legal pad.
You wrote a version of Charlie Wants an Abortion on a yellow legal pad,
I did.
didn't you?
Yeah.
I did at the Astro Diner. I still have that legal pad.
Do you?
I should turn it into an NFT.
You know, oh my God. I
That's
actually
fungible.
have
It's fungible.
I actually have a whole notebook of all of our original notes and some shorthand episodes written and all kinds of shit.
Did we have an episode that we ended up scrapping?
Yeah, I remember it was one of the first episodes that I was writing, and it was an episode about Sweet D dating a Middle Eastern guy and us being convinced that he was a terrorist.
Right.
Just a typical, sunny, profiling episode.
Yeah.
I don't remember why we ended up, maybe it just wasn't good. It probably just wasn't good enough. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'd never written anything in my fucking life. It made no sense for me to be writing a television show. I still don't know why I'm allowed to.
Maybe that's why they didn't give us offices.
Yeah.
These guys don't know what they're doing. They're not going to get an office.
I mean, I definitely did not know what I was doing at all. It's crazy.
Do you feel confident about writing an episode this year?
Yeah, I do. I have a little bit of a better idea of how to do it, but still not totally sure.
How about when we all got to know each other? Because people ask me this from time to time. They're like, when did you guys get to know each other? And I no longer know.
I do.
I do.
I remember meeting you, Rob, on a flight, and we were both being flown out to test for a pilot. Glenn, I have no idea when I met you.
I don't know. You know
Tuck
what?
Everlasting.
Yeah, I do remember.
The Tuck Everlasting
Tuck
audition?
Everlasting audition
I
was
do
the first
remember-
time I met you.
I thought that's when
in New
I
York?
might have met
We
him.
were all there at the same time. They
With Chris
brought
Palaha.
every guy that was living in New York City.
I remember I walked back to NYU or somewhere with Chris Palaha after that audition.
Yeah.
Wait, then I walked with you because I
Maybe you
remember
did.
walking to Subway.
With Palaha?
Yeah, with Plaha. And maybe you.
You don't remember me?
No, I kind of remember you, but that's such a vague, that's not a big.
Palaha was taller and much more striking.
And then, true. And then when did we hang again? Not till we were.
Well,
out.
so you and I both auditioned for that 80s show.
Yes.
And
yes.
we came out to LA and we tested. And what happened was we both tested for it. I was testing, though, for one character, and you were testing for my best friend.
Yes, that's correct.
And then you, this is actually funny because I remember you were like, I got to get, you were like going back to your hotel or something. You were like, I got to get back to my hotel and I guess I'm going to call a cab. And I was like, oh, I'll drive you. And you were like, you have a car? And I was like, yeah, they gave me a rental car. And you were like, they did? And you were like surprised that they were like, oh, okay. You gave
Guess
you
they
a
don't give
rental car.
the best friend character the rental car.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's right.
I remember we were driving away from the Fox lot, which is so crazy. This is where we are
this
now.
I
We're
recall.
driving down Pico. I get a call from my agent, Stephanie Ritz, at the time Endeavor, and you were also with Endeavor. Stephanie calls me. She's like, you got it. You got the part. And I was like, oh my God, that's incredible. Holy shit. I just booked the lead in a half-hour comedy. That's amazing. And I was like, you know what? Actually, Charlie's right next to me. You got any news for him?
Yeah.
And she was like, there was like a little pause, and then she was like, yeah, put Charlie on. And then I just heard, and I handed you the phone, and I heard you like, yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah. I didn't fucking care.
Yeah. You had tested for like 16 pilots. at that
Yeah,
point.
by then I was like, this is what you do. You go, you read, they think you're weird, and then
you lose.
And then you lose.
And then that's how it goes.
Rob, I have a distinct memory of you and I. So I used to record those IFC
Oh God.
things. And,
Yes.
and coming up on IFC, it's Dario Argento's, whatever. So being at a place called Buzzy's on Melrose, where I did all the things. And you met me. We had coffee across the street from Buzzy's, and we had a conversation about we should just make our own fucking thing because we're sitting around waiting for.
But was that
to
after
happen.
we had been hanging out at your apartment with you and Jimmy Simpson, and you guys showed us all those really super weird in-camera edited movies that you guys made in New York City? You and Jimmy Simpson and Nate Mooney and David Hornsby and
Logan
Marshall Green
Yeah.
made all these super weird, really fucking funny short movies. And I remember sitting there watching those with you, Rob, and both of us were like, oh my God, this shit is so fucking funny.
You know, it's like it was the 2000 equivalent of TikToks or
Right.
you know, like YouTube videos. Like there was no YouTube, so we just
It was
pretty
just
much-
for you guys,
just
right?
for
Just to
us,
show
yeah.
your friends.
Yeah, just to,
But Jimmy did put a couple up on YouTube, and I stand by them. I think they're super funny. I don't know if they're
years
still
later. Yeah, I think so.
there. But
But so that conversation, I don't remember where in the timeline it happened, but it was
Very
before-
early, yeah.
before we were actually doing the show.
Yes, before we were doing the show, and I was like writing screenplays and like trying
Yeah,
to get.
I remember that.
I remember distinctly going over to Charlie and Jimmy's apartment with a bunch of actor friends of ours.
To do a reading
like
of
well-known, I'm sure, like, I mean, I know it was like a bunch of well-known people.
Yeah,
Pacino.
Yeah, Pacino was
stopped
there,
by,
yeah.
and
And De Niro was there.
And then you knew Paul Thomas Anderson, so you
Yeah,
invited
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
directing.
he was there.
He was directing.
I had Booger there. No, but I remember like sitting around and doing like a quote unquote table read, like just a round table read of
Billie Jean.
Billie Jean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did Lynn
Man.
Collins play Billie Jean?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, Billie Jean. It was something I wrote with Bacchus.
With
And,
Bacchus, yeah.
And I remember it being pretty funny. And
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I
it
think
was
we can-
good.
we can do this. But then it's so hard to get anything through to the machine. So you'd send it to somebody and they'd be like, oh, I'll read it. And then 3 weeks later, they'd just forget about it and that'd be the end of it. And so then watching Charlie's home movies, I
let's
was
just
just
do
gonna be
it.
like, what the fuck? Why are we waiting for somebody else? Let's just make it
Just do it.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Also, the British Office, the like
Yes.
the run and gun look of that, the cheap look of it.
Yeah.
To be like, oh right,
And Curb.
and Curb.
Yeah.
And the invention of that Panasonic DVX 100A.
Mm-hmm.
Like that camera looked like those shows.
Yes.
It was the first time that you could have like a consumer grade camera
Mm-hmm.
that didn't look like a videotape like VHS. It looked like closer to what we understood as film. And so we thought, oh wow, we can fake this a little bit better.
Yeah. So it was like the difference between like those home movies I was doing with Jimmy. He was doing those. We're shooting those on like a little tiny Sony digital thing that he'd gotten the money from that Amy Heckerling movie Loser. He had a big part in that, and he put like all his money into like renting an apartment that like the landlord was a crackhead. It was above a Gray's Papaya. It smelled like hot dogs the whole time, and this video camera. But then the Panasonic, you shot something and you're like, but this looks
Yeah, I mean,
Like a TV show.
like a TV show.
Yeah.
right.
This looks professional.
Yes. Of course, you look at it now and it looks like
That's
absolute trash.
The shows
But
always look terrible.
At the time, it really felt like, wow, we can make something look good.
And that look spilled over into the pilot that was shot with FX.
Yeah, and I remember us insisting. We were like, we came in, guns blazing. We were like, this is how we want to shoot the show. And every director, everybody we talked to, were like, that's fucking crazy. You can't shoot it that way. That makes no sense. And we were like, well, we can, because we just did. We did with nothing, with no resources.
Yeah,
just
no lights, no marks.
no
just-
lights, no
yeah.
marks, and we even resisted in that whole first season. We did not allow our director of photography to put marks down. I think most people know what that is at this point, probably. But
It's a little piece of tape you put on the ground where the actor is supposed to stand because the light is perfect for them.
Yeah, the
there.
light's right. You gotta be
they're
in
not
focus.
Gonna block the other actor in the shot.
right, or you're not going to catch the other camera if you got two cameras rolling or whatever. But I remember the main thing people took exception to was that we wanted to shoot 3 cameras at all times. We had one person shooting wide, shooting a
that's
wide
right.
master. And then if it was a 2-person scene, we had somebody shooting, say it was a scene between me and Rob. It'd be
Maybe you're right.
one camera on Rob, one camera on me, and one camera shooting the master.
Even at the time, we were making our thing, and then we would shoot, right? And then we would go and we'd look at it, cut together, and we'd be like, something's weird. They're just looking at each other, but it looks like one's looking in one direction, one's looking in the other.
Oh,
and we had to
shit.
figure out in real time.
Oh, we didn't know
that
the
we didn't
line.
understand
the
the
line.
line. Yeah, like we just didn't know. We just started doing it, and now
I don't remember that.
Yes,
I thought-
I don't remember that either.
In
but
fact,
I know about it.
if you look at the first one, there's some weird eyeline things that don't
Yeah.
make any sense.
We're crossing the
And
line.
we didn't
yeah.
know why because we had no fucking idea what we were doing.
Yeah. Also, we were not shooting it to sell it. I don't know where your head was at, but I know for me, I was like, oh, I just want to shoot a funny home movie like what Charlie and those guys did in New York and just to show people, to make my friends laugh. And in my mind, it was like, we're shooting like this little short film thing. And then I remember we looked at it and we were like, it's weird. It feels like a TV show.
Yep.
Because that was not the original intention.
No, it was
Remember
to
how
see something all the way through.
Concerned we were with white balancing.
Oh my
Yes.
God,
Yeah,
yes.
trying to make
There was
the
a
two
lot of white balance.
We got a white balance. We got to white balance
shit.
these cameras, man. This is everything. Otherwise, the 2 shots don't look the same.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, at least we had the presence of mind. At least we knew how to do
Yeah,
that.
we didn't know. We make it sound like we didn't know anything, but we knew some
Oh,
stuff.
just the bare minimum.
we had a boom. We knew enough to have a boom.
No.
Well, we didn't have we had a directional mic that we turned into a boom mic.
That's a boom.
Hanging it
We had a
from
directional mic hanging from a broomstick.
Yeah, it was a broom.
We had a broom, I said. What did you hear? What'd you guys have for breakfast? This is what they don't want to hear about the show. They just want to hear this kind of shit. The Rock would say what he had for breakfast. I had nothing.
You didn't eat anything for breakfast?
No.
What's the first? What?
Are you intermittent
You're wondering
fasting?
why you're having stomach problems. What time did you eat for the first time today,
I ate for the first time today when we had lunch.
Charlie? Did you have coffee?
I had a ton of coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But coffee doesn't really bother my stomach. Cheese
No,
does.
cheese, just
We
cheese.
made this clear.
You can't drink. Rob can't drink.
I don't
coffee.
drink coffee anymore.
I just sometimes I'll have breakfast, but today I didn't. I was running out the door.
Okay.
You know. What do you bench?
My bench has gone down significantly since COVID. I got up. I got it up there, but
I have no
It's
idea.
useless there,
I have
useless
no
for me.
idea what I can bench. No clue.
3 chairs.
I think it's okay for a 44-year-old man not to know what he can bench.
I think it's
Are you
best.
45?
I'm 45, yeah.
my
I wasn't going to say
God.
it.
So am I.
So is he.
Crazy.
So is he.
So am I. Cut that.
Cut that. Cut that. Cut that. Cut that.
45. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
cut that.
Hopefully my-
Cut that. Cut that.
I got that. Yeah. How old were we when we started doing this shit?
27 years old. I know I was 27 when we shot the original home movie, and
Same.
then 28 when we shot the FX pilot.
Yeah.
Right, so we like to think that we were like super
No,
young, but
we
we
weren't.
really weren't.
No.
Like the Beatles had broken up by the time they were 26.
Most people, most
Well,
artists
we're gonna
had done
start
their
comparing
best work.
ourselves to the Beatles. We're gonna have a hard time here.
No, we're gonna have a hard day's night. Oh,
Yeah.
you guys. Most artists, I would say, had probably done their best work by the time we started this show. They were like well past it. We were just warming up
and that feels like a lifetime ago.
You never want to peak too soon, man.
because it was.
Yeah.
Because it was.
Well, we
Because we're
can't
old.
remember any of it. But that's the Pinot Grigio and the bourbon for me.
Pinot Grigio and bourbon.
Well, I don't mix them together, but there was a period of my life, a good 8 years, where I drank Pinot Grigio. And now I don't drink that anymore. I just drink bourbon now.
Do you? You switched
I
bourbon.
switched to bourbon. Yeah, I drink bourbon.
I don't know you to be a bourbon.
I wasn't a bourbon drinker until we all locked down for the global pandemic.
Okay, we don't have to go into it on the podcast, but I want to hear about the bourbons that you're into. Are you super into it? Or are you
I'm,
drinking
I'm
like
super into it. No,
You are?
Yeah, no.
I've got a couple of recommendations. For you.
Okay. Maybe they'll be sponsors.
Hey, yeah. You know what I really have been into is rye whiskey.
I'll drink. I'll drink some rye.
I really like I don't know, something about rye. I don't like it when my liquors are too sweet. So like a lot of tequilas are too agave forward, if you will. I want a dry experience. I would submit that some people do want to hear this, Charlie.
No. I'm sure they do.
I'm just trying to talk about something.
Yeah. I get it. 73 degrees out. Sunny. Los Angeles today. The available Wi-Fi network is Fox and Friends. Just talking about your phone.
Just talking about your phone.
Just looking at your phone.
Well, guys, this has been fun.
I like talking about whiskey.
Oh yeah,
I thought that.
whiskey's cool.
I thought
You ever had a
that-
Japanese whiskey?
Yeah.
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 Good
They're
stuff.
they're making some
Yeah.
good ones these days.
Yeah, I went to Japan. It was awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
you still have cats?
Yeah. One. I got one.
One of those cats is still alive?
Yeah. Bean's still alive. 19 years old.
That's insane.
She's old as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember you getting those cats.
Yeah. I'm surprised she hasn't had a heart attack from the dogs at this point, honestly.
That's a tough thing. Like 18 years into a cat's life, just bring in 2 dogs.
Yeah. Bring in a couple dogs and yeah, they just want to gobble her up.
Cat's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck, man?
What are you doing?
Yeah. It's really funny. Every time she takes a shit, she's like,
You might want to get that checked. You might want to get that.
oh, there's no getting it checked at this point. It's like,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
19.
yeah.
Everything's going to fucking hurt. But it like something, every time she takes a shit, she's like,
I'm concerned about your cat,
I
man.
know. Have you talked
I'll
to a
take
vet
it in
about
to
it?
get checked.
Have you talked to a vet about this? I mean, but
No.
is she in pain?
I don't know what she's doing. She might be in ecstasy. Listen,
Cut
guys,
that,
she
cut
might
that,
be.
cut that,
Cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that.
Cut that.
Well,
She
cut
might be
that.
in ecstasy, guys. She might be in ecstasy.
So you're saying you can't tell the difference whether a female is in pain or in ecstasy?
Aren't they the same thing?
Cut that.
Cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that.